Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome to day 5. We had a really great discussion last night, and I was so blessed by that. Everyone seems to be doing so well. So doesn't it feel good to accomplish something that seemed daunting? We learned so much by challenging ourselves. So, just to repeat a few of the things that we talked about last night because I didn't get that recorded. So for those who weren't there, the time frame today for the meal is about we're gonna eat in about 2 to 3 hours. So I didn't put a time in there, so because I want you to feel how your body is, and you can make the adjustments. It's up to you because we're just having one meal, and a lot of us are not used to eating a big amount of food in one sitting. So you can probably spread that out into 2 to 3 hours. So for me, I would think I'm going to start eating at 5, maybe hopefully end by 7, something like that. Or you can do it, start at 4 and at 6, or start at 4 and at 7, It's up to you. Um, just um, just listen to your body. And then the cedar meal is going to be at 5 p.m. on Saturday. Some people are grouping together and some will be from their own homes, but the Zoom will be open at 5 for everyone. Just make sure that you have everything prepared for that Saturday. Ren sent out the PDF of what's required for the cedar meal. So again, we only have one meal today, and one major tip is to eat your good fats first, because then you load up first on what will fuel you longer. And then if you're having some carbs, you eat that after your fats, and you can eat it with your protein too. So some examples of those good fats are like avocados. You can start with that, or eggs, or you can have coffee with butter or coffee with virgin coconut oil, or both. And you can also try putting grass-fed butter in bone broth. That's very tasty drink. You can start your you can have that before starting your meal, like right just before you eat. Okay, and then I have more tips on fasting for your longer fasting. That's because I didn't want to give a big huge list in the beginning, so I'm trying to give tips every day. Um, so here are more tips. If you are taking supplements, continue to take them because you need those nutrients, especially if you have vitamin deficiencies. Don't skip your supplements. Then get a good amount of sleep, because the more you sleep, the less time you have to feel hungry. Simple as that. But it also gives you energy, of course. Don't be afraid to do something productive, because it also helps with curbing your hunger, actually, so you don't think about it too much. But you also might be surprised by how your mind is more clear. And if that's not today, if that doesn't happen today, it might happen tomorrow. If not tomorrow, actually, for a lot of people, it happens after the 24-hour fast. So maybe Saturday morning, you'd feel a lot better. But if you're not feeling that clear mind during our fasting at this time, don't be discouraged, because when you try again the next time, when you try to do another fast, it's going to get better. Sabi nga ni John, it's like training. So, and then take walks. Because for me, when I start to feel a little lethargic or sleepy, I have to force myself to move. Because for me, I think it's more of a psychological thing, that when I start feeling lethargic, it's because I'm used to associating that, like the tiredness, with hunger pangs. Like when I'm hungry, my mind goes like, oh, you're going to feel weak because you're feeling that hunger. But when I start moving, I find that I have energy after all. So just listen to your body, challenge your body, and listen to your body. Okay. And I'd like to share this. I did the same fast, I think about 3 times in the last couple months. And the first time I did the 40 plus hour fast, I just did a mild exercise at home because I was nervous about doing anything, um, like I was afraid of doing hard exercises without food. Um, but that was okay. And then on this second try, um, when I got to sometime about past 36 hour mark of fasting, I was able to go to Pilates. I was nervous actually driving there because I was like, I didn't have any food the day before. So I don't know if I'll be able to do this. But then I finished the class and it just felt like a normal day. I felt great. On the third try of my fasting, instead of Pilates, I did my run, and I was just following my normal running program. I didn't cut down or anything, and I actually felt really good that day. So I'm not sharing this to brag, but to show you that it is possible, and we don't really need to be afraid of doing normal activities while we fast. So just always listen to your body, but it's also totally okay to go easy this time around since it's your first time. But yeah, so that's up to you. Challenge yourself or go easy. It's okay. All right. Now I'm going on to the meat of today's video. I'll be talking a little bit more about how fasting enhances prayer. This is how I understand it today. So I had mentioned that fasting is rest. It's like the Sabbath, but remember again, we don't have to do it on the Sabbath. But why do you think God created rest? It's because we can get lost in the busyness of our days, and then we lose sight of God. Then we forget to hear for His guidance and wait for His voice, and then instead we follow what has become our routine, what our bodies used to doing, what our minds used to doing. I mean, without thinking much, we just go on with our day. But God doesn't want us stuck in our routine. He has a lot of surprises. He has a lot of good things for us each day. And He likes actually giving us adventure each day. But that's what our minds tend to do, is get stuck in routine without His guidance. Then we wonder, why am I stuck in this cycle? I feel stuck. So if we don't take that one day of rest, then what happens is we take months of repeating a cycle. So now let's go back to what goes on in our bodies. When our body is not digesting, it starts cleaning out the gunk and repairing cells. And after that, our organs work better, our brain works better. So, okay. Now here's something I learned from Miles Monroe. He's quite a really good, famous preacher. He gave this analogy. So imagine a pipe, like it's open at top, a pipe open at the top, and then it flows into a tank. And this is like a spiritual pipe. God pours into that pipe, and then the tank is us. So whatever God pours into the pipe, it flows into us. All right. Now, this pipe gets clogged up from our day-to-day activities and habits. And what we receive from God depends on how much space there is in the pipe with the gunk in there. And if we are all clogged up, we're not able to receive what God is sending us. So like when we get clogged up, we get clogged up from things like eating too much, for example, Netflix too much Facebook, too much gossiping, stuff like that, getting caught in our daily busyness. So Miles Monroe says fasting allows purity to eat away the gunk, so your capacity comes back to its fullness. Parang Drano is what he said. But a good kind of declogging agent, whatever that is, because I heard Drano is not really good for your pipes. So remember in the Bible when the disciples were not able to cast out demon, Jesus said this kind of demon can only be cast out with prayer and fasting. So here it's like the disciples didn't have enough capacity for God's power to flow through them, and they needed to fast and pray for that power to flow. There may have been gunk in their pipes. So that's just something that I learned from Miles Monroe. But this also aligns to how I have come to understand prayer, because I was thinking, do we really change God's mind when we pray, or are we like begging Him? Does He only answer like when we beg Him when we're praying? Does He do things for us only when we beg? But not really. When we present our requests to God, we don't change His mind. He knows what we need. But prayer changes us. And by praying, we are choosing to release God's power to make things right here on earth. But we can't do that when we are clogged. And we can only fight the bigger battles when we remove that gunk. So physically, again, when our bodies are clogged up, our organs and our brain cannot function at its best. So this hinders our connection too, because it blocks our ability to think and make good choices. And then it also blocks that connection. I feel that is really connected with that spiritual pipe as well. So today, what we can do today is, let me read 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 5. We destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of God, and take every thought captive to obey Christ. So today, may our thoughts align with the mind of Christ, which we were already given. Yesterday or a couple days ago, I gave the homework to write down your emotions. Now here's what we can do today with that list. Reflect on that list you have, and for the negative emotions on that list, get into a quiet place and offer those emotions to God. Ask God, where are these emotions coming from? And see if there are other emotions that are coming out. Sometimes they're not very obvious, like, because sometimes those are layers. There are emotions that are hidden in there too. And if we can bring that out, then we can have it healed. So for those negative emotions on the list, go into a quiet place and offer it to God, and then write these down. I release the feeling of blank, that emotion, coming from blank. So coming from, that's something that you talk to God about. Where is this emotion coming from? And then write down like a truth from God that will help you let go of that. Like, for example, for me, I wrote these down. I release the feeling of not being enough, coming from criticisms I have received long time ago. Then the truth is that my identity is in Christ, not people. Then another one is, I release the feeling of frustration, coming from lack of income. The truth is God provides for my needs. So write that down, reflect on that today. So I remember yesterday in our discussion, some of you mentioned challenges like having to watch others eat while you're fasting, or not being able to eat when you're cooking for them, for other people, or you tend to do some clock watching, like check the time, is it time to eat yet? So if there are frustrations like that, write that down too, include that. So yeah, just do that, offer them to Jesus, close your eyes, and then imagine those negative feelings floating away, or actually flying away from you. They're gone, and then you can get on with your day with the lighter load. And then when something comes up again during the day, just do it again every time. Like, if you feel, if you're noticing that you're there's something heavy, just write it down again. So I think that's all for today. Have a blessed fast today. Oh, and I wanted to show you my t-shirt. Running on coffee and a whole lot of Jesus. Don got this for me.